It's no longer sufficient to wait for the doses of training that you get from your company. You're going to get left behind or disrupted. The market's moving too quick. Things are changing too fast. We've over-indexed on the sort of investment and attention to technology and under-indexed on the change management and investment that needs to parallel this with people. I think training and development is the foundation for commercial success. And I think that idea is more critical and relevant today than at any other time in previous history, because the skill and competency required to succeed in the professional selling domain is fundamentally changing. Salespeople that use AI in their daily sales motions are 3.7 times more likely to exceed their performance target. And that's an exciting opportunity, but it's also rooted in change management and professional development. So the actual application of the technology and the execution of the technology and the human layer in order to understand where to leverage the technology and what it needs to provide you as the seller and the expert to build a better relationship with your client are the competencies. But those competencies didn't exist 3 years ago. There was an interesting article that I came across on LinkedIn that talked about this idea of the talent velocity advantage. And they defined talent velocity as an organization's ability to see its skills, build or acquire what's needed, and mobilize talent real time to get ahead of market demands. And I think that's something probably every organization recognizes it needs and that everybody wants. But the premise of the article is very aligned with my thesis that skills are shifting faster than most companies can see or respond to. And it's become the defining divide of the AI economy. They projected that 86% of companies lack adequate talent velocity, and a small minority, just 14%, are racing ahead. I'm fond of the saying, automate the tangible, humanize the intangible. You can't automate what's required to guide a customer effectively through the decision cycle. That takes a level of skill and relationship and knowledge transfer and discernment and listening and empathy and judgment that is fundamentally human. You know, the reality today with technology is that customers don't need more information. We're inundated with robust and quality information. It's overwhelming. What people need is somebody to guide them through the information, to help them make sense of it and better understand how to apply it in a way that solves their problem or accelerates their opportunity. We shouldn't be trying to sell anything. We should be helping somebody make the best decision. And if we're guides on that journey, that process still augmented by technology, but it's very much human-led. So I think the seller of the future is powered by AI, but human-centric, customer-centric. Harvard Business School put research out that indicated that 95% of a buying decision is unconscious. So in many respects, it's emotional. You know, people are bringing in their memories, their experiences, their preconceived notions, their understanding into the process of making a decision. And often as buyers, we decide and then we try to rationalize our decision with logic and evidence and data. being able to guide a team expertly through a complex decision really is the skill and competency that you want to develop. If I was purchasing sales training today, and I think anybody considering it should consider, one, the customization and personalization. Depending on the scenario, it's got to be nuanced and relevant and be able to be applied to that particular set of seller skills and competencies, industry, and situation. And the second thing is that, you want to make it practical or actionable. So you want people to actually be able to move through real world scenarios and to gain insight that they can take back and apply to more effectively do their job. And then I would consider the delivery mechanism too. I still believe there's tremendous value in being face-to-face and being in person. I think you have more resonance when you sell that way. I think there's more resonance when you train that way. But of course, technology gives us wonderful tools to augment what you do in person and sustain the learning journey over time. So the investment in the training isn't alone. It's got to be continually reinforced. There's learning opportunity every time you're in market, every time you engage a customer, every time you win a deal, every time you take a loss. And taking the time to audit or deconstruct those experiences and learn from them, I think, is mission critical to the growth of an individual and the growth of a team. The last thing is, through a training experience, you want to give people both the capability, but also the confidence that they can go out and succeed in doing this work. Companies grow when people do. I'm going to make the investment and support my people on that journey, but they're going to have to meet me part way and invest in themselves also.